Hi guys, this is Melissa Zad for Into Boxing, and I am delighted to be joined by the man himself, Mr. Savage Dan. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm hot, really warm, but I'm not complaining. I love the heat.
Yeah, I don't mind. I just feel like I should be in a swimsuit.
A mankini.
Yeah, I wear the leotard thing. That's what I do.
Doing what? Ali G, Borat? What is it?
That's it's like a mixture. Like mine's like a sky blue trim with navy blue and Chelsea badge.
Does it have tassels?
No. Not this
You
year.
need to get next year's one needs tassels.
Next year's one's getting tassels. Bournemouth, watch out.
What a beautiful day for the weigh-ins. It's been a really lovely couple of days. I actually didn't have a chance to catch up with you yesterday. We had a very innovative press conference / public workout. Talk us through the ideas behind it.
I think it was just to change things up. We did it in Coventry for the Boxer Series. I'm not sure. Do you remember? Oh no, it wasn't a Boxer Series. It was for the Sam Eggington card.
That's right.
And we tweaked it a little bit to make it a little bit more smooth. But we liked the fact that it was quite casual and it's not like a very formal setup. It's more like a bit of a chat. That got sprung on me last minute, obviously. Adam Smith wasn't back from holiday yet, so I just had to take the reins, do whatever I can do. But yeah, I thought it was good. You know, it's the only real way. Fight week's hard for fighters because they're doing their final bits and then you're asking them to do a lot of media stuff. So sometimes doing a public workout on a Wednesday and then a press conference on a Thursday and a weigh-in on a Friday is no good for them. So we tried to kind of squeeze it into one. It was a little bit long-winded, but I think the fact that we're on a beach and the fact that it's nice weather and the fact that we tweaked it made it quite smooth. I thought it was quite enjoyable yesterday.
You know what would have made it better? You in that tasseled mankini, I reckon.
It didn't get approved by Sky, you know. That when I came down in the hotel, they said, "Don't think this is on brand."
It's a bit too savage.
A bit too much. A bit too much.
So we've just had the weigh-ins. There was a little bit of tension between a few of the fighters. What happened with Fraser Clark and his opponent in the ring?
Do you know what? Argentinians are just always on smoke. I don't know what it is, but they always bring it. And I haven't seen one come to a weigh-in without the Argentina flag. Like they're very proud, very brave, very tough. And he's a good opponent. That's not someone you should, in theory, be fighting in your second fight. That's a tough boy, 22 stone, big, can punch as well. So it's a real statement from Fraser, and he obviously wasn't going to back down. And the Argentinians just like, oh, let's have it. And then they started the face-off here. On what do you want? It's always going to end with a little bit of a push when you start like that. But it's good, you know, because this has been, for the most part, quite a pleasant.
It's been real pleasant.
Fight week, you know. There's no real bite or tension between any fighters. It's nice, you know. It's a gentleman's sport, but obviously as the fans, we want to see a bit more, and we got a little bit.
Yeah. Obviously, Ben Whittaker's making his professional debut tomorrow night in the light heavyweight division. He fancies himself, Ben Whittaker, as he should. You know, he did bits in the Olympics. I heard him say something recently in an interview about wanting to take on Dan Aziz already. What's your thoughts?
I like it. It's refreshing. You know, he's going to rub people up the wrong way. That's facts. And people are going to be like, who is this overconfident, arrogant person, blah, blah, blah. But it's the fight game. It's not golf. It's not tennis. This is, you know, 90% between the ears, regardless of what people think. It's a physical sport, but it's very mental. He's very confident. There aren't very many confident fighters like that, outwardly confident, provocative fighters out there in the world. So the last thing you want to do with a character like Ben Whittaker is get him and then go shh, like calm down now, calm down. Let him be him. You know, this is him. He doesn't mind all the stick. He doesn't mind all the bad comments. The people that want him to lose. Eventually, it will become value for him. And it's his identity. You know, he's happy to do it, and most people aren't. So I actually quite like it. I like the fact that he's willing to take on this almost pantomime role. Early on in his career, people are going to be like, oh, it doesn't matter because he's not going to be fighting opposition that is, you know, capable of beating him, or you think, you know, we see upsets all the time, but he's put a lot of pressure on his shoulders, a lot of pressure, but he likes it. I can tell he likes it. This is what he wants. It's his way.
It's interesting because obviously he's opted for a 6-round debut rather than the, you know, traditional 4-round debut. Yeah, you're right. He's not the most easy to love character when you kind of see him do his thing. But what I quite what I find at least refreshing about it is the fact that in Britain, it doesn't seem like we have many of those. Like in America, they're all on smoke. They're all talk crud.
I don't even think we have any. And even in America, most of them aren't like that. That's like an Adrian Broner, kind of like, I don't care. Like even, that's like that's the max. It really is. And he hasn't even laced up his gloves for the first time as a professional yet. So it's good. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? He's calling people out. He's called out Dan Aziz. But it puts a target on his back, and he has to know that he has to walk with that target now. That's there for good. You can't undo it once it's done. I think he knows that. He will always be the bad guy in a bout, whether it's against a journeyman or against a live opponent. He will play the role of a bad guy. I like it.
So let's talk a little bit about the main event. We have Usyk Chamberlain facing Chris Billam-Smith for the Commonwealth and European title, and with a potential world title shot on the line as well. What do you make of that fight? It's a real 50-50.
It is a 50-50. Do you know what? Honestly, I'd call it a 51-49 in favour of Chris Billam-Smith, only because of recent opponents, recent form. Even though Usyk's looked good, he's looked good against people you would expect him to look good against. It's the momentum thing, the Bournemouth factor, the homecoming. I know that puts added pressure, but I just think if you're I'm not sure how the bookies have got it, but I'd imagine that they'd have CBS as the slight favourite. Isak's skills can undo anyone though, and he's really tricky, really good. He's an inside fighter as well, more than people think and realise. So I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to gel very, very well.
What's your predictions?
I can't give one. Someone's dropped their Hilton hotel card. That's just got me. I just threw it in the sand. I'm staying on the fence.
That's way too diplomatic.
I'm here. Like I'm here. I'm part of this. Unfortunately, I can't just step in as a.
Come on. If you had to.
If I had to, I would follow the bookies, and I'd probably say split decision, Chris Billam-Smith.
Even a diplomatic answer in your decision. I like that. I like that. Yeah, maybe a little politician in a former life. Who knows? Obviously, Mikel Lawal is also fighting on the card. I was saying to Adam Smith yesterday, it very much feels like Ben is collecting cruiserweights at the moment. We've got, as I said, Mikel Lawal facing a southpaw, most likely in preparation for Dion Juma. I think maybe he even confirmed that. And potentially hopefully the British title that we've all been waiting to see coming up soon. What do you make of Mikel against Dion?
I think it is a yin-yang fight. It really is. So you get Dion is technically very good and probably technically superior to Mikel Lawal, but Mikel Lawal has size and power, like big power. So he has got the equalizer. So it's just one of those ones again where it's like one shot can do it, but Dion, you would expect him to bank rounds. So I haven't seen much of. I mean, look, Mikel hasn't fought in a while, so there's going to be a little bit of rust, which is why I'm interested to see how he looks tomorrow, especially against a southpaw. I haven't seen him fight a southpaw, so it's interesting to see. And obviously, Dion will be locked away in his camp, and he's looking at late September, early October to get that on. So it's a good fight. It's a good fight. It was the fight that was supposed to happen originally, so it's one I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to it, to be honest. It's one really for the British fans. And obviously Dion wants his, he deserves his shot as well. Moving on, we've got Usyk and Anthony Joshua in the rematch coming up on August 20th. Firstly, what do you make of the undercard? And secondly, it's 3 weeks away. What are your thoughts coming closer to that fight date?
I can't believe how close it is. We only announced it, was it 2 days ago? That was on Sky? I think.
Yeah, and that's the other part, the Sky bit.
It's good that we got it on Sky. Well done to Ben for getting that over the line, making sure it's happening. Undercard, I'm pretty sure it hasn't been announced, but we think we're going to have a couple of picks on the undercard as well. So we could see a couple of boxer fighters on that undercard. I like the fight. I obviously want AJ to win. I think he can. I am not as long in the tooth in boxing as AJ, as Robert Garcia, as any of them. But the one observation I've made is that you probably don't want to try and box Usyk. That is his game. You got to box him at some points, but eventually you want to step on him. I would like to see an aggressive AJ, and then like a spiteful AJ with lots of intention, not kind of feeling things out. I know you have to, or you run into shots, and Usyk definitely pops hard enough to make you not just walk him down. But I'm as intrigued as everyone. I really am. You know, I'll most probably be there for that fight.
It's okay. It's all right.
I don't know how the bookies have got it again. I think if AJ is able to really put it on Usyk,
Down
he can win.
goes Frazier.
I think if you fiddle around with him, I think you find yourself losing by 1,000 cuts.
Serving 9 for the fans.
I really like the saying long in the tooth, by the way. I haven't heard it in a long time. Really showing your maturity, your age. I like it. Good one.
Yeah, come on, like I got good vocabulary. I got A in English and English lit. I got B in one of those, but academic. Yeah.
So, Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr., potential super fight, potential barnstormer of a fight. Do you think that it's going to happen soon, or do you think that actually there's too many I's and T's to cross and dot?
I think there's loads of I's and T's. I thought Eubank was contracted to Sky. So I didn't know how that was possible. Obviously, I know he's a Wasserman fighter, but I'm not sure. I'm guessing there's a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross there. There's the weight discrepancy, obviously. I've been waiting for it to get announced. It's a great fight. It's got a lot of history. It will gather a lot of interest, of course. But I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm hearing reports that it's close, and I'm hearing reports that it's not close. So it's interesting to see how that folds out. But it's a fight I want to see.
I think it's a fight that everyone wants to see, right? It's a real fight for the fans. If it was to go ahead, you know, if everything gets over the line, who do you have winning and how?
I do always say the big uns. When there's that much of a size difference, you've got to go with a bigger man. I've never even seen Chris Eubank really bothered by a shot, and he's fought, you know, big punches, George Groves, some big boys. So I'm not sure if Conor, even though he is explosive, he's electrifying, he's intense. I'm not sure if he'd be able to make up that size difference. You know, I think Eubank would be too big for him.
I mean, just playing devil's advocate here, you know, the fact that you've mentioned Conor Benn is very, very explosive, and that kind of explosiveness, that snap, it carries a lot of punch power. You've seen it. You saw it against Algieri, the way that he went down. Do you not think that would put a chink in Chris Eubank Jr.'s armour?
Maybe, but we haven't seen big punches at 168 put a chink in Chris Eubank Jr.'s arsenal. So, yes, he's explosive and it looks big, but that's 140, 147, it's different. We're talking about a man who just the other day was at 168. He's fought Arthur Abraham, he's fought big boys, you know, so I'm not sure. I don't think anything, his chin, he's got his dad's chin, I don't think anything really bothers him. So I'll put it this way, even if you know, everything was the same, it's not like I would be ever going towards a Ben stoppage. I haven't seen enough to even suggest that Chris Eubank's that vulnerable to big shots, you know, and we see him get tagged every now and then. Doesn't seem to bother him. As in, you can always hope, but I haven't seen any evidence to suggest that Chris Eubank will be bothered by even a big puncher at 147.
Valid observation, I like it. So last question actually I've got two, sorry. I've kept you here for a long time. So Jake Paul, his new opponent, obviously dubbed as a legitimate boxer.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
It is a legitimate boxer. That is a legitimate boxer. That's Rahman's son. That's Rahman Jr.
What I mean is your thoughts on Jake Paul facing him at cruiser.
I like it from Jake Paul. Jake Paul don't care. He actually don't give a shit. Like, he's just like, yeah, like, I'm here. He tried to fight Tommy Fury. That's not come through for whatever reason. But he's picked up someone who's had his whole life boxing. He's been in the Mayweather gym. He knows his way around the ring. Yes, it's a former sparring partner. There's a bit of history there, but I like it from Jake Paul. Like, he's taking the sport seriously. When he first came in, I was thinking, what is this YouTube boxing? But he's stuck around. Like, he actually, he's obviously a little bit. He's deluded. He is. But it's a good delusion. Like, he thinks he can beat anyone. I'm interested to see the fight.
In all honesty, you know, I was a hater when he first came on the scene. I was like, this is rubbish. You know, I'm a boxing purist. I don't like this stuff. But he's brought loads of new fans to the sport, and he's pretty good.
I don't know how good he is.
He's pretty good. I mean, he's better than what we made out that he was going to be getting into the ring. I think that's fair.
He is. I think you can get to that in a couple of years. As long as you're naturally athletic, you can get to that. And you take the sport seriously. He's where he should be if you dedicate yourself to boxing for a couple of years. And you're naturally athletic and you've always had an interest or whatever it is. I just want to see where, if he can beat Rahman, that's a big statement. That's big. It means he's a boxer. That's it. He's not a YouTuber anymore. He's a boxer.
Absolutely. Okay. Last one from me. 10th of September. Massive all-female card. Headlining is Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields. Who are, you know, some of the people on that card that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to the main event, and I'm also looking forward to the Michaela Mayer against Alicia fight. That fight, that's just like shoot off the hip. That's a gunslinging fight. That's the top of the bill is the one. Usually you look down and you'll be like, oh no, that's a better fight. I think the best fight on that card will probably be the top of the bill. Just because of the clash of styles, the clash of cultures, it reminds me a bit of Mayweather Hatton. And that's the one I'm looking forward to most. I'm not sure where we're at with Natasha Jonas and Hannah Rankin. I'm not sure what potentially that ends up on that card. But Shannon Ryan. There's just so many fighters that are going to be on there. Hopefully Caroline DeBar. I mean, we've got such a big. We've probably got the biggest women's stable in boxing. Ben invested heavily at first and made sure that we got like loads of women fighters. So to be able to do something like this within a year of our first bill is crazy, you know. I think it's got to be the first ever all-women's bill, you know.
It is. I can't believe it's not been thought of sooner. It's absolutely amazing, and what a fight to headline that show with.
Yeah, and it's got history, like a decade of back and forth. Savannah, the only person to ever beat Clarissa. They both don't like each other. They don't hate each other, but but it's good because they need each other and they use each other. It's good that it's happening now. Can't call it. I know you're going to ask me for a prediction. I can't give it. This is one where I sit on the fence. You want me to give you a prediction? Majority draw. That's the one you're gonna and a rematch.
Potential trilogy.
It could be, you know, like sometimes these kind of rivalries can't be settled in one fight, and they're either close or something happens or they're controversial or whatever it is. Anything like that, and I think we see a rematch.
Dan, thank you so much for all of your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Always.
Boom.